Hello everybody, and Jess here, and welcome back to Symphogear AXZ, whatever you wanna call it. The fourth season. Yeah, the fourth season of Symphogear. In the previous episode, the introductory episode, so to speak, we were indeed introduced to our new yet old antagonists. Namely, we were introduced to the Bavarian Illuminati, whoever they would be, and to the military of some Latin American country whose name I forget. Something Verde, Verde, something like that, something like that. Chris has bad memories with that country, of course, and we also met a couple of new people. Some of them were cool, like the girl who pointed our characters in the correct direction. No, it was a dude. Yeah, it was a dude who pointed our characters in the correct direction. And we also met the leaders of that little militia. But we didn't spend much time with them because they were soon killed and sacrificed by the three alchemists: Cagliostro, who else was there? Comte something and some other dude. Again, I forgot their names, but I will remember them eventually as the time goes on. And they are there to collect something, souls, lives, something of the sort. They need to kill people to collect that for sure. So perhaps memories, just like autoscorers. Autoscorers were alchemical creations, so that's a possibility. And they were also there, apparently, to get, revive, resurrect, steal, do something with a character encased in like yellow crystal. My suspicion is that that character is one of the another word that I lost. One of the custodians. One of the custodians, and they want to revive them for some reason, probably a nefarious one, because what other reasons would they have? Although it's interesting that they seem to be human, then again, yeah, I was about to say for a moment that Finney was also human, but no, she was a ghost of a priestess, so she wouldn't care about the fate of humanity when she brought down the moon. And those three releasing the custodian, I'm gonna assume. Maybe they care about humanity, maybe they don't, maybe they're doing it for just their personal gains. I don't know, we simply don't know enough. They were able to revive some snake dragon thing, and that's pretty much where we left off. Now we went to fight with that snake dragon thing, and that's about where the episode ended. Yeah, now it's all like kind of hanging in the air. What's gonna happen next? Are they gonna enter the battle? Are they not gonna? Are they not gonna enter battle? What exactly is going to happen? I'm not gonna prolong it any further. I think we can just jump straight into seeing where it goes next. I have a suspicion that it's gonna be essentially a split core, AXZ, and whatever whatever the next season is named, because now we have like all the elements together, right? We have the alchemy, the Bavarian Illuminati are finally entering the stage. The only thing that's missing is custodians making a return. And something tells me the Bavarian Illuminati are heading towards that direction. Also, someone pointed out Elf9 has her own little desk and a chair and her own station, which is cool. Thought I'm gonna mention that. And with that, now we can start watching episode 2 and see where it's going to go exactly. So, your subs, you're gonna need them to follow along. My sound, I'm gonna need it to listen and hear what's going on. And of course, support. You can support the channel if you want monetarily, Patreon Throne, links in the description, or if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word. It really does help a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 2 of Symphogear AXZ, version by the same as the previous seasons. It's not denoted in the name of the file, so I don't feel like looking it up. But yeah, the same version. So it's starting in 3, 2, 1, go. An old movie. Stolen art, stolen gold. The Amber Chamber or something. Val Verde. Yeah, okay, I was correct. Why the film grain? That looks like a person, not a relic. Oh, that's the first time we see the OP, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah, that's the first time. By shedding many tears, the reality you face is AXZ. Okay, everybody training in their own way. Corrupted hearts. Tsubasa's father. Okay, and they have their own henshins. That's cool. Alchemical henshins, I'm assuming. New attacks. Very similar scene here to what it was in the previous season with our team going against Carol and the autoscorers. Except a bit of a different composition. Instead of going in this direction, that was going in this direction. Yeah, that's more or less where we left off. Last time on Dragon Ball Z. What are they doing in the field, though? I still don't know why they were selected specifically to go out into the field. Yeah, I'm assuming it's still about the Curse of Balal? Probably. Okay, so they already know they're alchemists. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Okay, new kind of a linker. And you did the best job. Oh, you didn't. Okay. That changes things a little. Believe in them that believe in you. Regaining control of history. With more alkanoids. Or alkanoids in the first place. There weren't any to begin with. Fist, sword, bow. That's Hibiki Tsubasa and Chris. Okay, we're gonna get like Elf9 character growth arc? Probably. Where she starts believing in herself and whatnot. No, not quite, probably. Yeah, that was predictable. Just turned herself into a tornado. Yeah, literally. Tornado impact. And that was enough. It swapped to a version from a different reality. Okay. I mean, running away is perfectly valid. Oh, it's this dude. With his version of the staff. Of, whatever. Yeah, that's not the best escape route, is it? We can snake it off. Oh, is it actually a pun? Or is it a pun only in the subtitles? Snake it off, shake it off? Yeah, the snake seems much tougher than I thought it would be. Yeah, why would it stop? Time limit. Is that it? No. Okay, she just recalled it. Sure. Tiki. Right, the eye in the middle of the forehead is something that I encountered in the Novice Alchemist anime as well. Probably has something to do with alchemy. That's Chris's former friend, I'm assuming. So I was correct, assuming the guy was the son of the person that Chris knew. Oh, I thought for a moment that's gonna be some new henshin sequence. Yeah, shoot them. Oh, okay, he's dead. Chris? Or did he just lose the leg? Okay, I mean, compared to what could have happened, that's a very good outcome. I thought that any. Oh, brother, gotcha. I thought that any contact whatsoever just vaporizes the whole body, but apparently. Okay, it would have if he was allowed. If the nose was allowed to keep holding on. Seemingly invincible. Okay, so she hasn't perfected the linker yet. I mean, you're the best we have, so. Okay, so what's the deal with this amber? Okay, 400 years ago. We're gonna learn exactly. So alchemy is fairly young. Oh, I love her outfit. Still has the butterfly. Everybody's pirate themed. Adam, as in the biblical Adam? Did you? Dull autoscorer kind of thing? Okay, so timey-wimey shenanigans. Comme de Saint-Germain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lapis. Okay, another thing that they have to complete. First it was Chateau de Tifauge, now it's Lapis. Okay, we're getting some backstory on her as well. Okay, so resentment on both parts. Yeah, mutual resentment. And yeah, like Chris is right here. What the fuck is your deal, lady? He's getting worse, or... Oh, grab his hand already. Oh, that's no bueno. Yeah, they no longer have a side. They were summoned and just... Yeah, probably. The jiggle physics, though. And here comes Maria. Henshin mid-flight. Okay, show me the Henshin. Yeah, we're again continuing with the theme of just a single plane going through the body. And with displays on the bracers. And a lot of showing off of the moves. Oh, a triple song. Two people singing is a duet. Three people singing is like a trio? I'm not gonna... Okay. True. And poof goes the linker. At the worst possible moment. Yeah, that's your concern. Grab on and fly? Okay, I guess they can fight the noise, but the alchemists, not necessarily. Even with the linker slowly failing. Yeah, what was that? Some weird reaction to linker or something? Or them somehow breaking through their limits to the point where they no longer need linker necessarily? Also, I love how they're just uh how much more elaborate are their Symphogear getting? Like, they created a whole underside of a plane, and I love this effect. I saw it in the opening and I loved it, and I love to see it working in the wild. Huge fuck off arm cannon, essentially. And poof goes the linker. Yeah, ain't gonna be that easy getting rid of them. Yeah, they're the antagonists for the series, for the season at least. So of course they're gonna stick around. Although same could have been said for Carol, and look how she ended up. That looks different. Okay, 80 Ex Machina. Oh, just you watch. It's working just fine. Yep, punching through dimensions. Immovable object versus unstoppable fist. Okay, from what I see from the ending so far and from what's been going on, this is gonna be a very Chris-centric season, isn't it? GX was very Hibiki-centered, mostly due to her father. Kinda also Maria-centered. Maria went through a lot of character growth. This one seems to be Chris-centered. Okay, I don't mind it at all. Just like that. Kind of abrupt ending to that ending, but oh well, what can you do? I did realize one thing though, watching this season. I kinda miss it was in G. I think it was in G and kinda in GX as well, but mostly in G. How the beat from the opening would slowly start appearing. Right, there's some scenes, or last time on Dragon Ball Z kind of scene, or whatever other scene, and then the beat from the opening slowly starts and then the opening starts. That was cool. And the same for the ending. You could hear ahead of time that the episode is ending and the beat slowly comes on. And are they gonna resolve it? Are they gonna manage in those like 3 seconds that are left, or is it gonna be a cliffhanger? More often than not, it was a cliffhanger, but still, I'm kinda missing that from G and from AXZ. Although that's the first time we saw the opening and the ending in full, so perhaps things are going to change. But right now, how about we go through this episode again? Shall we? Yeah, this looks like a video. Why is it a video, though? A relic, a humanoid relic, I'm assuming an artificial alchemical construct, not dissimilar from Elf9, from the Autoscorers. This is a base on the moon. That's a moon crater, and there's a base on it with buildings that look vaguely Sumerian. Again, we're continuing the Mesopotamian and Sumerian themes, of course. Although the patterns kind of remind me of Nazca lines, but not really. We're getting a new pose for the opening. For the logo, I mean. Here or... no, it happens later. Yeah, introductions of all the characters. I like the art style on those. They look... the line art is... I think it's hand-drawn. Like, actually pen on paper. Yeah, it actually looks pen on paper. Oh, the logo has the same effect that the snake had. And again, we get multiple layers of it converging into one. Symphogear AXZ. By shedding many tears, the reality you face is something. Also, the pose that Hibiki is making in the logo isn't the same as the pose that Hibiki made during the whole sequence before. Which, okay, whatever, but I kind of got used to the fact that Hibiki is doing all the poses and then freezes in one and gets like transposed into the logo in that pose. Also, a fairly odd style of an opening, or should I say, not odd all in all, but fairly odd for Symphogear. We usually don't have this many like shots, like proper animated sequences and action shots and whatnot in openings. It's usually a bunch of characters moving around, maybe a few seconds spent here and there on showing some actual action, but it's usually also very... how should I say it? Very unlike what you would see in the show proper. Right? Those scenes that we're watching here, they could be very well placed in some episode and ripped from the episode straight. And that's not the usual style for Symphogear openings. Now, it's not a dig at it, I don't mind it at all, just an observation. Or maybe I'm just talking completely out of my ass and I simply can't remember the earlier openings. I don't know, could be. Right, we're introduced to our villains. Of course, Miku, Elf9, Tsubasa's father, Ogawa, some other old dude in the background, Tsubasa's grandfather? Could be. And those three. A wand hammer, a flintlock pistol, and a ring. with hearts in them. That's very Mahou Shoujo, isn't it? That's extremely Mahou Shoujo. Those are probably like the most popular transformation items in Mahou Shoujo shows. A wand, a flintlock pistol, to a lesser degree, I guess, and a ring. And all of them shaped like hearts, which is another Mahou Shoujo trope, where everything is shaped like hearts, butterflies, I don't know, flowers. This heart has some lines inside of it, which initially look like corruption. I think we see those hearts even earlier, briefly. Yeah, here. This looks like corruption. This doesn't look like a pattern in that heart. This looks like a heart or a clump of nerves and either veins or some neurons or something extending from that center. Interesting. I wonder what that's gonna be. We're probably gonna be introduced to some other technology that they are using to henshin. Not Symphogear, they're alchemists, so they're probably not using Symphogear. Although, no, wait. What they have on their necks, that looks like expanded relic, doesn't it? So maybe they are using Symphogear or some sort of an alchemical Symphogear, right? Symphogear are relics that use Auwachen waveforms and music, in other words, to activate. What if you could also activate a relic using alchemy? It would still be a Symphogear-ish thing, but alchemical. We know that there used to be some primordial magic that existed in the world, and then it splintered into alchemy and music. Yeah, alchemy and music. Those were like two attempts at giving people common tongue again. Either common understanding, common language found in music, or common understanding through dissection of everything and understanding the core of the world, the very essence of all of existence. Because when you know the essence of a thing, you don't need to know a word that describes it. So kind of surpassing words, surpassing language. So those are two offshoots of the original magic. Yeah, I think those might be either alchemically created Symphogear counterparts or relics activated with alchemy instead of music. The serpent dragon, is that going to be something that's going to be prevalent throughout the season? Serpents. Alchemical circles, yeah, we are used to those from Carol. They create yellow crystals similar to Hibiki's knuckles and similar to what Kiki, the big eye doll person, is encased in. And those are, again, very Mahou Shoujo scenes. Doing that kiss and bubbles and hearts flying around. That's something you would expect from the good guys, from the protagonists. And like, look at this scene, right? Without context, it looks like some magical girl used her magic of love and created those heart cute projectiles, and then there's an evil person shooting down the hearts. That's Also, I love her fully automatic bow. Yeah, that's something I noticed in general. How our antagonists this season aren't necessarily modeled as antagonists. Without the context, and if you were just shown some scenes with them and some of their designs, you would be hard pressed to say that they are truly the villains here. They have very like classic Mahou shoujo designs to them. Also, as I said, this is very much a parallel um, image to GX, except here it's instead of, yeah, it was like flipped this way in GX. There was uh, uh, there was Carol and autoscorers here, and our main characters attacking from the bottom in this direction, right? Here it's a different thing. Our characters are here in the upper corner, and in the bottom corner we have our villains, our antagonists. I'm not quite ready to call them villains yet. I'm gonna call them antagonists. Kind of a reversal. It seems like it's the antagonists who are the underdogs attacking, trying to fight off our main characters. And that's in general the vibe I've been getting throughout this episode and throughout this opening. That perhaps it's not black and white whatsoever. There are layers of grayness. I mean, it was the case for mostly every villain so far in Symphogear, hasn't it? Fine, ultimately, wanted to do something good, right? Yeah, for most villains. Fine ultimately wanted to destroy the curse of Balal, to have humanity speak the same tongue. Sure, she wanted to also be the ruler of all humanity, and that kinda invalidates her good deeds and good intentions, but ultimately it was morally grey, right? Some bad, some good. The vibe of, I don't know, I want to steal money from a shop to give it to charity or something. Morally grey. Then we had in the second season, who was the villain? Dr. Ver, of course, and Nastasia and the FIS team. Ver, morally grey, morally ambiguous. Nastasia and the rest, ultimately, they wanted to do good. They had good intentions again. Uh, Carol was probably the only one who's very dark grey, at least, if not completely black, because she willingly misunderstood the intentions. Like, I can understand where she was coming from, right? Revenge for her father, that was her driving force, but I can't agree with it, even in the slightest. As opposed to Finney, where I can agree that, hey, yeah, lifting that curse would probably be good. Or Ver, where, yeah, saving humanity would probably be good. In case of Carol, there wasn't anything like that. So I wonder if I'm gonna have the same feeling when it comes to those people. But from what they've been talking, that they want a revolution, yeah, worldwide revolution, like restoring history, those kinds of themes, uh, again feels very morally grey to me. Like they ultimately have a good goal and they want to accomplish something good for the genuine good of humanity, but they aren't necessarily going about it in the best way possible. Yeah, I can see this season having a lot of character growth for Chris, first of all, because she's now in Val Verde, where she has bad memories with, and she reconnected with Sofia and Sofia's brother, and there's some resentment, some unsolved issues between them. So we're probably gonna work through that. And Elf9 is clearly going to be another character that gets character growth. She already got some in this very episode. She's constantly talking about, oh, I can never go around it, it's all my fault. I'm using even Carol's body, I'm using someone else's research, what real worth is there to me, right? Those kind of themes. But she's gonna grow out of it eventually. We need to slow them down, yeah. I'm so powerless, will I always be a burden? That's Elf9 speaking. Again, I love flying weapons. I said it time and again, and it bears repeating. I just love flying weapons. And yeah, this bit, where the snake gets a weird effect on it. Then there's this effect. My first immediate thought is different versions of it, right? Either different timelines or different parallel universes or different, I don't know, like assuming fractal nature of time, different paths, right? At that split second, the future could be that the snake died, or the future could be that the snake didn't die. We went into the future where the snake died, but haha, no, we're gonna forcibly enter the other timeline where the snake didn't die. But this very much does look like layers, very reminiscent of. Sometimes you see some games that utilize either fourth dimension, and they have like a slider where you can switch between different points in the fourth dimension, or like you have a 3D Sudoku. There is a 3D Sudoku on like itch.io, I think. Aliens Rock played it recently, and that's what reminded me of it immediately, where you can use a slider to switch between various layers in a given dimension. So those are various layers where the snake exists in all various dimensions, or various points in a given dimension. And perhaps all of them converge into one, not so much as another one is picked, but all of them converge. This snake right now exists in all the timelines simultaneously. So you can't just kill it, because even if you kill it in this timeline, it exists and is alive in all the others. You would have to destroy that snake not only in our 3 dimensions, but also in the 4th dimension of time, or parallel universes, or whatever else the 4th dimension is. You would have to destroy all versions of the snake at the same time to truly defeat it. Alchemy has reached the goal of all human science, the attainment of divine power. Control of time and space? Probably, maybe. Hard to tell, we don't know, we don't have enough details yet. Retreat is always a valid last resort. Indeed. Running away is perfectly valid. And those 3 characters, our antagonists, are really pitched into us to be likable, aren't they? They aren't shown, well, okay, they do summon noise that murders hundreds and hundreds of people, but they're cute, so all can be forgiven, right? They really are made to be waifus. Like 3 archetypes. You have the big booba Genki girl, you have the shy loli, and you have the Ojo-sama. Perfect. We can snake it off. I'm still wondering about this line. Is it what she actually said? We can snake it off, and she made a pun through that? Is it not what she said, and it's just the author of the subtitles that made a pun? Or is it not a pun? It's actual term that I'm simply unfamiliar with. Shake something off? I know. Snake something off? Not really. It's time for the train. And yeah, it was recalled. Sorry, haven't had my coffee yet. It was recalled because the goal was never to destroy the Symphogear users. The goal was to confirm whether or not the snake attained divine powers. But it's interesting because in the previous episode it seemed to me like they summoned the snake as kind of an offhand thing, right? We need something to grab the enemy attention, we need something to chase after the enemy. Oh, this statue here looks cool, it looks like it would be powerful, so let me infuse it with the soul of a snake and let it go after our enemies. It didn't seem like it was the moment of, oh yes, now we will infuse this statue with god power and confirm the attainment of divinity. Seemed very, very offhand for something that they're making a fairly big deal out of. Tiki. Tiki, tiki, tiki. Like a tiki torch. I'm gonna have to remember that. And that's the opening. And for a moment here, I thought this is gonna be a henshin sequence. Perhaps for the Ignite module, like straight from the get-go. Black, blue slices, that's probably Tsubasa henshining right now. It's falling apart, but oh no, it's just noise, she's just fighting. That's fine. Yeah, sending more noise after them. Yeah, this changes my perception of the noise a little, of how they work, because I was constantly under the impression that just a single touch is enough to destroy the whole body, to just vaporize it. But apparently it spreads. It takes time to spread. I don't know if it needs to maintain contact. Probably not. Probably a touch is enough to start the process, and then even if the noise is killed, even if there's no touch, the dissolution progresses forwards. So amputation is the only way, genuinely. Yeah, I was wondering what Chris is really like thinking about. Just shoot the noise. But no, she was considering that, yeah, I'm gonna have to shoot this kid's leg off. That's what I'm gonna have to do to save his life. So hesitation actually makes sense here. I was unsure, but yeah, it makes sense. Why did this have to happen? Well, you were living under the rule of a dude who uses noise to fight, so it was bound to happen sooner or later. It's your fault that my brother lost his leg. How? I'm not getting her reasoning. Like, I know that she's struck with emotions and grief and fear, right? But Chris saved his life at the cost of the leg, sure, but the leg was already dead. The leg was already turning into carbon dust. So it would have been lost one way or another. The only difference is, would he completely be carbonized, or would his leg be the only part of his that would be carbonized? That was the only choice. So, yeah, I showed it off, as you should have. I love how how much Maria has taken to Elf9, how she treats her like little sister. I really do like their dynamic. It started in GX and it continues here, and I do very much enjoy it. It's no one's fault, so you don't have anything to apologize for. Yeah, just believe in us. Just cheer on us. That's gonna be enough. And apparently, then some weird flash happens, and it is enough, actually. But we're gonna get to that. And full on backstory. I was hoping we're gonna, like, see that. We're just gonna be transported for a moment 400 years in the past, and all of that is gonna play out. And that's where it was headed, honestly. We founded the practice of alchemy. So the alchemy was founded by only merely 400 years ago. You would have expected it would have been something much earlier, right? Because music wasn't founded 400 years ago. Music was something that accompanied humans since the very beginning. So, yeah, I thought all this time that the timeline goes something like primordial magic, uh, Babylonian times, and during the Babylonian times, we have primordial magic splitting into alchemy and music. But apparently not. Apparently, alchemy is much, much younger than I thought it is. Piece of heretical technology left behind by Fine. Also, triple Ahoge. Now I'm gonna name it properly, Ahoge. It's not Ahegao, it's Ahoge. Reminds me a lot of Fitoria from Shield Hero. Fine sought to monopolize all such technology. I love Fine as a pirate. Also, again, she has floating weapons, floating cutlasses. I God damn, make a spin off of Fine Adventures. Fine's Bizarre Adventure, where she goes swashbuckling across the seven seas in this form, in this timeline. I would love to see it. I would love nothing more. There was some dude named Adam with them. Founder. Attain divine power and give it form. Yeah, Tiki was thrown overboard, and the Illuminati were banished from the backstage of history. That's probably what she meant by restoring history, right? Bringing the fact that Bavarian Illuminati existed and their whole history and all of that back to light, so that people know the full story, not the sanitized version of it. But yeah, this is something I'm a little bit iffy about. Not the. Mm, okay, first of all, we successfully triggered the fall of America. How and when did that happen? Uh, I would have assumed that if it actually was to happen, it would have gotten at least a mention from someone. Like Genjiro saying, oh, the Americas fallen apart, or some mention in the passing or something. I would have expected that to be a big deal, unless she means something else completely. I don't know. But yeah, I was about to talk about things that I find a little bit iffy. One thing here, really, how they're talking about what they all know. they all talk about what they already know. Yeah. Uh, I'm not a fan. I'm never a fan of this form of exposition. That's why I'm such a big fan of fish out of water stories, and that's why I like isekais and reverse isekais a lot, because you always have the main character or some other character be the oblivious one. So explaining the state of the world actually can be explained to someone, and through them to viewers. When a character ends up in another world, then explaining what the religions are, what the continent is called, what are the national dishes, and stuff like that makes sense. But explaining things that everybody knows about, everybody involved knows about, not the best. Not the best, honestly. It's like I suddenly started monologuing that you are all gathered here to watch Symphogear AXZ episode 2. It's the fourth season of the show that was created back in 2014 or whatever, and this season follows the third season, which concluded. So now we are watching the fourth season. It was created in 2018, I think, and I'm currently commenting on what's going on. Previously, we saw my reaction to this episode, and before that, you were all witness to my intro to my recollection of the previous episode. And after we are done with this, I'm going to leave with some final thoughts. Then the video will end, and you will be back here for episode 3 that will come next week. Right? Like, everybody knows about it. So it makes no sense talking about it. It's from the in-world standpoint, it's useless. It's just useless talking. From the viewer's standpoint, it's exposition. So cool. I know what their shtick is now, but it kind of sucks in world. No one in this world should be oppressed. Yeah, that's one of the lines that makes me believe they might be very much morally grey. That they ultimately want whatever they're doing it for the benefit of humanity. Somehow. I don't know what they're doing exactly, how they're going about it exactly, but they don't wish humanity harm. That's the vibe I've been getting. Johualte Postli. That's a Mayan deity or something. Johualte Postli. Johualte Postli. A book of creatures. Okay, Johualte Postli. It's an ancient entity from Mexican folklore known to haunt mountainous regions and desolate places. And it is a headless man, headless humanoid. Makes the sound of an axe being driven into wood, and that's how it earns its name from Yohuali Knight and Tepotzli axe or hatchet. It's a spirit associated with Tezcatlipoca. Exists to torment nocturnal travelers. Okay, so not a single line said about it being a serpent, but sure, whatever. I don't mind it. I want to be honest with myself. Another show of like goodness, right? I don't want to lie anymore. I want to be honest with myself. Those characters are fairly complex and they ultimately want to do good. That's the vibe I'm getting. Also, we learn more about them. Another couple of characters with a lot of depth to them. She was really kind to me. I loved her like my very own sister. But it was her neglect that let them sneak in the bomb that killed my parents. Oof. Oof. And now you can never forgive me, but neither can I forgive you. That seems to be like she killed my parents. I saved her brother's life by amputating his leg. We're even. No, it doesn't seem that way to me. But, I mean, that's Chris's interpretation of it, so sure, I guess. I know it was the right choice, but that doesn't make it better. What? Again, I know that there's a lot of emotions going on here, but what? She should be thanking Chris for swift and painless amputation. Separated from Chris in the chaos without so much as a goodbye. This wasn't the reunion I spent all those years hoping for. So she was hoping for a reunion, but now she just scoffs at Chris. I'm not getting her. I don't know what her deal is. We're probably gonna learn it later, but right now I don't know what her deal is. Causing chaos to bring Symphogear users. And Maria's henshin, new henshin. Again, we're keeping the theme of hexagons because alchemy, and now the henshin also, at least for Hibiki and now also for Maria. We'll see how it is with others, but I'm assuming it's going to be the same, just a single plane going through their body instead of one plane henshining one arm, the other for the other arm. It's just one plane henshining her whole. And again, floating hexagons are turning into the armor SGX00 Ergetlam. And again, it's getting a display. Except this is interesting. In case of Gangnir, the transformation was purely mechanical. Here we get something that kind of ephemeral, that changes color and changes texture. Interesting. Dress pieces fly in, also turning from hexagons probably, but off screen. Another hexagon flying in with the thrusters. Much fewer hexagons than in case of Hibiki. All the elements of the armor are flying in from off-screen, essentially. I love how metallic they look, though. That's something that I just noticed. They really do look metallic. But yeah, in case of Hibiki, it was all the elements were shown clearly transforming and appearing from the floating hexagons. In case of Maria, we're getting little less of these hexagon shenanigans. And a great chunk of the henshin is spent striking poses and swinging around. Yeah, a bit fewer of those like purely transformation moments, a little more of posing and dancing. Full power right from the get-go. No, not really, they haven't gone Ignite yet. I wonder if that frog plushie is just a plushie or is it perhaps alive? Or can it come alive? Wouldn't surprise me if they had to fight like the frog plushie, but grown like 7 meters tall. Invincible, Yohua, whatever. I love this moment. Maria is really taking lessons from Hibiki, isn't she? Furious Snake might be invincible, but you aren't. At least as far as we're concerned. And she carries that blow. Of course, creating a shield does the job, and the sync rates are falling because linker. Apparently the linker, like, works shorter amounts of time, unless it's attuned to a certain person. I wonder if that's something Elf9 is going to solve, and how is she going to solve it? Or are they gonna have like a breakthrough moment, like what I thought was happening with Maria there? That they're like, oh, there was a glow emitted out of our bodies. Oh, we suddenly don't need linker anymore. I wonder. In the way of a plane. Yeah, this glow. For a moment, I thought it's linker failing, and she's just gonna dehenshin mid-strike. But no, it's some different glow, and only after the glow happens does she get the feedback from the lack of linker. I'll extend that moment to an eternity. How do you plan on doing that, Elfline, though? Bit of a character growth for her, that's for sure. Are we going, in this season, are we going for the kind of message of, like, believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, don't give up? Maybe. And yeah, they're just transforming into an underside of a plane with skis, big skis, front wheels, because of course, two halves of a yo-yo attached to her. Extended spear that she can grab to, yeah, to just create an underside for the plane. It has zero combat usefulness, but I'm down. I'm absolutely down. After they created that combo attack of a Beyblade with pincers in the previous season, nothing that Shirabe and Kirika can do will surprise me anymore. I mean, plenty of things will surprise me, but I will have expected that surprise. That's how I'm gonna put it. Oh, I see what she did. I see what she did. She created essentially like a pole for pole vaulting. Like there's that thing where there's a big high bar and people run at it with a pole and then use it to jump. She used it to jump over the building. Yeah, and just throw the plane like it's a paper plane. Love it. Arm cannon. I adore this attack. Horizon cannon. I love it. In the first place, I love just how versatile Ergetlam is. It's not just one singular weapon, it can be anything. It can be a whip, it can be a sword, it can be a dagger, it can be a motherfucking arm cannon. Love it. Reminds me a lot of arm cannons in Warframe. I wish they were treated better in that game, but alas. And all of that with linker failing, sync rates going down. I wonder if it's a Chekhov's gun. that points towards perhaps their reliance on Linker slowly getting less and less for some reason. I don't know, I'm not sure. They de-henshin in the end, but still. Invincible Lil Yohwal Tepotli. Not invincible enough. Also, I love the shading on Hibiki. They really did put a lot of effort in this single scene, because no other character so far, not even Hibiki, in this episode or in the previous one, had this kind of elaborate shading. Okay, maybe in the previous one, but this is certainly art style. It's the kind of art, the kind of shading that you would use for an opening sequence. Like, this is a scene from an opening, and not for the show proper. For the show proper, you would use this kind of shading. This is opening territory. But it's Hibiki Ex Machina, so they had to go a little bit extra here. It's not going to work. Yeah, watch it. Watch it work. Fairly easily, actually. Yeah, just punch through the impossible. How hard is it, really? Fist 1, reason 0, absolutely. If that doesn't sum up Hibiki, I don't know what does. Punch through the impossible, fist 1, reason 0. If my assumption is correct, and this snake exists on multiple planes of existence or in multiple timelines at the same time, then Hibiki just punched through dimensions casually. Like, it wasn't even like a big moment, hyped up attack that you would get in the finale of the series, right? She's not even using her Ignite module, let alone X Drive, and she was able to destroy the indestructible, kill the unkillable. What happened to the whole invincibility thing? Hibiki happened. Also, moments of this are animated on once for that extra smoothness and extra jiggliness. And the shading continues to be just a little bit extra on her. And this switch of this filter really seals the deal that this is the ending. And the ending is all about Chris. Chris sitting on a pile of rubble with bullet holes, her parents, shattered glass, which means shattered family, shattered hopes, all that jazz, but flowers are sprouting, so there is still hope for her. There is still life, there is still happiness, there is still beauty in life. Okay. This was a bit of a dense episode. I don't mind it, mind you. I don't mind it at all. I did like this episode very much. We now know more or less what's the deal with our 3 alchemists. We now have a little bit more of a connection to Fine, and interesting is that they were trying to oppose her. Their constant talk about revolution and not having to lie anymore and being able to free humanity so that no one can ever be oppressed, right? All that jazz really makes them look like heroes, like protagonists almost. From the opening, we see their methods of henshining and all those hearts and bubbles. It's again very reminiscent of main characters from a Mahou Shoujo show. So it really seems to me like their goals are ultimately noble, but the execution not necessarily. And I can't wait to see where we're gonna go with that. What exactly do they want to do? Do they want to continue dismantling the curse of Balal? Do they want to help humanity in some other way? Do they want to rule humanity, or do they want to create complete and utter anarchy because they believe that is the only way anybody can have any semblance of freedom? Could be either way, honestly. We don't know quite enough about them to be able to fully tell what their deal really is. What else? Linker continues to be an issue. We now have the notes from Dr. Ver, so they can be analyzed and we can create better linker in the future, but Elfline has to get onto it, and she has to do that, she has to handle that. And she's having issues with herself, with her own performance, and I like it. I like how much of a character she has become. And I hope she will continue being a character, and I hope she will get her own growth arc, her own bit of character growth, and she will be able to believe in herself. And if not, then she will be able to believe in her friends who believe in her. Uh, yeah, that was genuinely a good episode. One more thing worth noting is you can tell immediately. It was visible in the first episode as well, but in this in particular, with the shading on Hibiki and with some of the effects and with how everything just looks and feels and the lighting and stuff like that, you can tell that they got just a little bit of a bump to the budget. So that's great. The only two things that felt a little bit iffy to me in this episode, they were small enough to not affect my enjoyment of it, my rating. But the exposition to people who already know of everything you're exposing, that's a trope I'm not a fan of. And Samantha, Sabina, Chris's former friend, and her reaction to her brother's leg being amputated. Again, I understand emotions, but she said so herself. She knows that it was a good decision, so what's up with that? Especially since we know that technology in this world is fairly advanced, so I would assume that bionic leg is not out of the question, and I would assume that S.O.N.G would even be able to finance it, because he helped them first of all, and he sustained casualty during their operation. So as a form of thanks and sorry, they probably would be able to give him a bionic leg. So I don't know what the big deal is about, honestly. But probably we will explore the relationship of Chris and that girl in a little bit more depth in the future. So far, those two first episodes set up a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. They did the job, for sure. The role of the first episode, first three episodes, is to set up things to make people want to watch more. Those episodes already made sure of that. If there was somebody watching it and giving it 3 episodes rule, they would continue watching that, I have no doubts. But if they got to AXZ, you'd assume that they've already seen the previous episode, so they have no reason to drop it after 3 episodes. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I don't think I have anything more to say. Cool episode, cool action, love the new attacks, love the art, and I love all the things they're setting up. With the alchemists, with Chris, with Elf9, and I can't wait to see more next week. Right now, you guys, you tell me down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories. No spoilers, please, I beg of you. I want to figure all that stuff out myself. Or not figure it out and be surprised by what is shown in the episodes. That's also valid. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Join my Discord, link is here and in the description. There's actually a Symphogear channel there where you can post spoilers and talk with your fellow Symphogear fans about what you just witnessed and what you're looking forward to in the future. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Symphogear AXZ but also Madoka Magica, Gundam Witch from Mercury, Sword Isekai, and Novice Alchemist, And also look forward to Arifreta OVAs that will be releasing shortly. There already are up on Patreon, but they're gonna be appearing on YouTube over time. Speaking of Patreon, you can support the channel monetarily via Patreon or Throne. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Symphogear, like Madoka, like Arifureta OVAs, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord, and you also get a place in the credits, so that's also something. On the Throne you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better lighting, better camera, stuff like that, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, it costs you nothing. Share my content, spread the word. If anybody wants to rewatch AXZ, or perhaps they haven't seen it and would like to watch it with someone's reaction, recommend them to me. No, recommend me to them so that they can get something out of it and I can get a viewer. It really, really does help in the long run and in the short run as well. And with all of that, I think that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys did all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits I mentioned. You can be one of those people if only you so desire.